What's up everybody, I'm back with another video. So we have the Himalayan 450. I've ridden 1500 kilometers on this thing in the past 2 days. I had put a story on Instagram asking you guys to ask me a few questions about the bike and I would answer to the best of my knowledge. So this is that video. These things can change depending upon more experience on the bike or more ride time on the bike. Okay, so the first question is it suitable for both commuting and touring? Let's talk about the commuting part. Commuting is absolutely effortless. I have no issues. I've ridden this in Bangalore traffic for 2 hours straight and I've had no issues. The weight management, the distribution, everything is nicely done that you don't feel the weight. And coming to the heat management, I don't really feel much of heat during traffic, but when you've been stuck in traffic for let's say 2 hours and if the weather conditions are also really hot, then you're gonna feel some kind of heat from this part because, and this is also kind of protruded outside, so that's gonna dissipate some heat out of that as well, but that's not something that is not tolerable. It's quite okay. We can deal with that, not an issue. And coming to the touring part, I love the seats, I love the suspension, I love the power. Okay, now these three things are the most important factors about touring. I kind of like the stock seat of the 411 better than this because that's much more spongy and softer, so I'd prefer that, but this is also fine. This is kind of like the KTM seats what you have over here. It's a lot wider though. This seat has a lot of space for you to sit. You can accommodate a very big bum. That is not an issue. And the back seats are also pretty huge, so your pillion is also going to have a very nice time. Yeah. Alright, so the next question, how's the low end throttle response? The power actually kicks in at around 3.5 to 4000 kind of RPM. That's where I feel like the power really kicks in, and around that RPM is where you're going to feel most of the bike's power. In the low end, if you want to do a quick throttle through the trails or an overtake, that is absolutely fine as well. The bike really pulls as well, but a 3.5 to 4 is where the actual power comes out. So okay, what do you think is the vibration free cruising speed for this bike? So a vibration free cruising speed would be a really difficult question to answer because this bike's got vibration and that's a fact. This bike definitely got vibration similar to KTM's out there, the foot peg vibration and everything. I can't really determine which cruising speed doesn't have vibration. Anything above 110 or 120, you will have some kind of vibrations on the foot pegs or handlebar. That's something that I noticed. But if you want to go for a complete vibration free cruising speed, then that would be somewhere around 90 and 100 is what I would say. I mean, those speeds also do have vibrations, but not as much as 120. How different is it from Old Himalayan? Oh boy, this is so different. Trust me, the entire bike is different. It's a new chassis, it's a new engine, it's a Sherpa 452 engine. It's got 40 bhp and 40 Nm of torque, bigger tires, bigger brakes and better suspension, better instrument cluster, bigger tank, better seats and LED lights all around, liquid cooled, and yeah, I mean, the quality also seems to be a lot better than the 411. If you ride this bike, you definitely know that it's not something that Royal Enfield makes. It's very out of the box. I'm really glad that they're trying something out of the box. I feel like it's got very similar characters to KTM's, like for example the exhaust note. At times I feel like it's exactly similar to the KTM's out there, and the way the bike pulls also is very similar to KTM, and just because of the weight ratio, the power and the weight ratio, this doesn't pull as much as the KTM's. But if this bike were to be around 170 kilos or 175, then this would have that kind of power for sure. Some of the design elements seems to be like a modern version of the 411, but apart from that, the way the bike performs, the braking is insane. You can't compare this braking to 411. Like even the front brakes doesn't come as close to the rear brakes of this bike. It kind of saved me from an accident on the way back to Bangalore from Sakleshwar. In my opinion, it's very different from the 411. Only few design elements could be kind of adapted from the 411 just to make sure that it's a Himalayan. No matter how many times we complain about Royal Enfield, we end up buying Royal Enfield motorcycles and fantasizing over them, but nothing like a Royal Enfield. This is very different. So the next question is mileage in the city and also in long drive, driving comfort, old, west, new. Mileage in city. So mileage in city, I've not really checked it, but I think you get somewhere around 25 or 26 depending upon how you ride and how how bad the traffic is. So that is really not something that you can come to a conclusion about, because your riding conditions may be different, your riding style might be different. Riding comfort, old versus new, I can't really comment on that. Maybe I can say this is better because it's got better suspension, so that's that. So there are some things that I like on that bike, there are some things that I like on this bike, so I can comfortably say that this bike is comfortable and you can tour on this for a long period of time. It's a good to go. Is it a head turner? Oh, that's an interesting question. All right, so the day I received this bike, I was riding in Bangalore traffic for quite some time. I think around 1 hour, I guess. Yeah, in that 1 hour time, 4 middle-aged uncles had asked me what this bike is and what's the price and everything. To my surprise, they never asked anything about mileage. They were really into the price of the bike. So, to be honest, I wasn't really sure about the price of this bike. I knew it was somewhere around 3.5 to 4. The first uncle asked me, I said 3.5. The second uncle asked me, I said 4 for some reason. The third uncle asked me, I said 3.5 again. The fourth uncle, I was fed up, so I was like 9 lakhs. And he didn't even turn back, nothing. He just went away. He was so disappointed. So coming to the question, is it a head turner? It is definitely a head turner. People do look at this bike, especially this color. I feel like it's very attractive. Alright, so I've been seeing this question quite a lot. Any tappet sound or unusual mechanical noise from the engine after a long run? I definitely did notice the tappet noise after quite a long run. Once you start the bike, you hear the tappets going crazy. It's only in the idle, but once you start riding, the tappets just does not exist anymore, and I don't know what's the ideology behind that. But the tappet noise should not be a case in such a new engine, definitely not right now. And this bike has only run 2,200 kilometers. Once it loses the temper, it starts making this noise. Let's see how this engine does in the long run. Maybe if I get a media bike for a longer review, for a long-term review, look into it and let you guys know how that goes. Okay, so the next question is, what's your height, bro, and is it comfortable for you? My height is 5 feet 7 inch, and I can completely plan foot on this bike. If I wear a riding boot and if I wear any other casual shoes, then I can plan foot 90%. And the seat is on the lowest setting at the 825mm, so you might be 5 feet 7 inch, but you might not be able to plan foot it completely. That's probably because of your inseam length. That can depend on different humans, and yours might be shorter, mine might be longer. Mine's longer, and that's why I think I can plan foot completely. Please confirm, one of you, 5 feet 7 inches, if you can completely plan foot on the bike. Okay, we've got another question. Instrument cluster of 411 versus 450. That's actually a good question, because I have something that I want to say. I really like the instrument cluster. The day I started riding it, I wasn't really a big fan of it. I felt like it was too small compared to my 411 instrument cluster, where that was kind of like a box shape. This is much better than the 411 in terms of the features, the kind of accuracy that thing has. It's crisp and clear, and the navigation works perfectly fine. But the only problem is in the navigation, if you want the navigation to be on the screen, you'll have to cast it from your phone to the instrument cluster, and that means that you cannot hard lock the phone, you can only soft lock it. Means, in simpler words, you just need to keep your phone screen on at all times when you're casting or navigating through the instrument cluster, and that's gonna drain the battery like hella fast. As an iPhone user, it drains out crazy. Initially, I thought that the instrument cluster design could have been a much better one. It should have been similar to the 411 with all digital and stuff. Would you swap the BS6 you have for the 450? Definitely not. I would definitely not swap my 411 for the 450. Maybe I would swap it for another bike, but not for the 450. Definitely not. Does it have the Royal Enfield feel? No. Alright, for the last question, are you upgrading? I don't know. Let's see.